Very good afternoon. We come to you from the Atal Bihari Vajpayee Ekana Stadium, where in just about 3 hours from now, we are counting down for the caretaker Chief Minister, Yogi Adityanath, to take oath. He's right now the designate Chief Minister. Then he'll be taking oath right behind me. The preparation's rather spectacular. We're going to keep getting all of this latest to you, break it down for our viewers and what this means. But before that, I want to quickly dip into the latest news break that we are getting in, which gives our viewers a bit of an insight on what possibly could be the cabinet for Yogi Adityanath. So that's the latest news break we are getting in. Yogi Adityanath at 4 p.m. would be taking oath alongside 50 other cabinet members, which will include the Chief Minister, and what we are getting to understand, they will only be 2 deputy Chief Ministers this time. So that's the latest that we are getting in right now, and it seems that the insider details of it coming out right now, which India Today is picking up. India Today has accessed the big names of Yogi's cabinet. It's a mix of old and new faces in Yogi 2.0. 2 deputy CMs to be sworn in along with Yogi. Ex-IAS officer and Modi loyalist A.K. Sharma has met the Chief Minister. And there are indications that he could very well, if not just be a cabinet minister, could also find himself in the spot of one of the 2 deputy CM chairs. I want to cut across right now to my colleague and our national affairs editor, Rahul Srivastava, who's joining us live with the very latest in terms of the insider track and what we can expect. Because, you know, viewers, while Yogi Adityanath will take oath with 50 other of his colleagues today, having said that, we would not know who the deputy CM is or what cabinet berth each of the ministers are getting. But we're going to give you the inside details of what there is to expect. Rahul Srivastava is joining us live. Rahul, A.K. Sharma, IAS officer, not really a BJP man, but possibly a Modi insider in Yogi's cabinet, touted to be maybe one of the 2 deputy CMs.
Yes, Preeti, that's one very interesting element. If we have seen this election right from that moment when Prime Minister Narendra Modi made that statement, Yogi Upayogi hai UP ke liye, from that time onwards we have seen that Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Yogi are being showcased as that one big BJP face as far as UP is concerned, and that could well be the plan for the future. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Yogi Adityanath. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, ex-RSS Pracharak, Yogi, saffron-robed Chief Minister. Yogi definitely much more strident, known not for some popular stellar scheme and delivery, but instead bulldozer, which does have a communal element to it, because the bulldozer, the target of the bulldozer were the Azam Khans, the Atiq Ahmed and the Mukhtar Ansaris. I think the one very critical element could well be if Mr. A.K. Sharma is promoted or brought in as a Deputy Chief Minister in place for somebody like Mr. Dinesh Sharma. Is that greater synergy? Prime Minister Narendra Modi will have one of his most trusted men in the Yogi Council of Ministers. Remember, A.K. Sharma has a history of working 20 years with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, was the CEO of one of the infrastructure entities in Gujarat, brought to the Prime Minister's office, sent to MSME as Ministry as Secretary, and he is largely known as a loyalist. And once he gets inside, means it could well be a greater sense of synergy between Delhi and Uttar Pradesh. That's exactly what Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the BJP would be expecting. Because remember, if, for example, today's ceremony in which virtually the entire who's who of India Inc. has been invited, Mukesh Ambani's, Adani's and Mahindras and the Birlas, then they definitely need somebody who has a certain footprint or presence in the past in Delhi, because somebody knows policies and how to expedite policies and their implementation. So A.K. Sharma could well be the point person for Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Delhi in the Yogi Council of Ministers. Then definitely some very interesting changes. I think 2 cops, Asim Arun, who won from Kannauj, and Rajeshwar Singh, ex-ED man, giant killer as far as ED cases is concerned, from Sarojini Nagar and Lucknow, being brought in. Swatandev Singh, for example, his name is figuring as among the people who have been invited to the Chief Minister's residence, means that the BJP is bringing in the man who was the party president or the organization head in UP.
almost feel like.
Well, it is interesting. Lots of names coming up. The last one, which